Welcome back, my friends, to Scary Stories from the Darkest Corner. We hope you enjoy today's stories. If you like, please like and subscribe to continue to support this channel.
The Silent Hollow. Deep in the Appalachian Mountains, where the mist coils like ghostly fingers around the trees, there is a place locals refuse to name. It's an old hollow, hidden beyond the well-worn trails, past the forgotten mining towns that nature has reclaimed. The few who whisper about it call it the Silent Hollow, because nothing makes a sound there. No birds, no insects, not even the rustling of leaves. Clay Mercer, a wildlife photographer, didn't believe in backwoods superstitions. He had heard the stories while passing through a small town on his way to the mountains, stories of people going missing, of eerie figures glimpsed between the trees. But Clay had explored forests all over the country. He knew these were just old legends meant to scare outsiders. One autumn afternoon, he set out alone, determined to capture the untouched beauty of the remote Appalachian wilderness. His map showed a secluded valley just a few miles from where he had set up camp. No trails led there, but that didn't bother him. He had his GPS, a compass, and years of experience. The deeper he hiked, the quieter the forest became. At first, he chalked it up to normal fluctuations in wildlife activity. But after an hour of hiking, the silence became suffocating. No wind, no distant rustling. Not even the sound of his own footsteps seemed to echo properly. Clay stopped to take a picture of an old, gnarled tree. As he raised his camera, he noticed something strange. The tree's shadow stretched in the wrong direction, bending toward him instead of away from the sun. He turned sharply, his breath catching in his throat. The shadows of the trees all around him were shifting, stretching, creeping closer. A cold dread settled in his chest. He had the distinct primal feeling of being watched. Slowly, he turned back toward the path he had come from. But the forest had changed. The trees seemed denser, darker. The way back was gone. Panic clawed at his mind, but he forced himself to stay calm. He checked his GPS. Error. Signal lost. His compass spun aimlessly. The trees whispered as if something unseen moved between them. Then, he heard it. A voice, soft and distant, calling his name. Clay. He turned sharply, scanning the twisted branches. Nothing. Another voice joined the first, then another. Dozens, all whispering in unison. Some sounded familiar. His mother, his best friend, even his own voice calling out from the trees. He ran. Branches clawed at his arms. Roots seemed to rise up, trying to trip him. He didn't stop until he saw a flicker of movement ahead, someone standing in the fog. It was him. Clay's own face stared back at him from the mist, smiling. But the eyes were wrong. They were empty, black pits that swallowed the light. His doppelganger tilted its head and raised a hand, beckoning. Clay turned and sprinted in the opposite direction. He didn't stop running until he collapsed, gasping, on a familiar trail. The sound of birds chirping returned all at once, as if the forest had been holding its breath. He was back. When he returned to town, he told no one what happened. He packed his things and left that night. Weeks later, curiosity got the best of him. He checked his camera's memory card, hoping to find an explanation. There were no pictures of the forest, only a single image, a figure standing in the mist.
Spring Break Horror. The rusted swing set creaked a mournful tune, a stark contrast to the cheerful postcards I'd imagined. Sunny Shores Motel, the sign proclaimed, its neon letters flickering ominously, casting long skeletal shadows across the deserted parking lot. This wasn't the spring break my friends and I had planned. It started with a map, a vintage, hand-drawn map, found tucked inside an old book at a dusty antique store. Hidden Cove, it read, promising secluded beaches and untouched beauty. We, a group of 4 college students craving adventure, ignored the nagging feeling that the map looked more like a pirate's treasure chart than a tourist guide. The drive was long, the GPS losing signal as we ventured deeper into the coastal wilderness. The winding road narrowed, becoming a dirt track, and the cheerful beach tunes on the radio were replaced by the unsettling rustle of unseen things in the dense forest. Finally, we reached Sunny Shores. The motel, a faded relic of a bygone era, stood alone, its paint peeling like sunburnt skin. The air was thick with the scent of salt and decay. A single flickering light bulb illuminated the empty reception desk. A bell, coated in a thick layer of dust, sat beside a tattered guest book. "Anyone here?" Liam called out, his voice echoing in the silence. No answer. We found our rooms, each one a miniature horror show. Musty carpets, stained wallpaper, and beds that looked like they hadn't been made since the 70s. A strange metallic tang hung in the air, and the sound of the ocean, usually soothing, was a constant low growl. That night, the storm hit. The wind howled like a banshee, rattling the windows, and the rain lashed against the motel walls. The power flickered and died, plunging us into darkness. We huddled together, the only light coming from our phones, our faces illuminated in the eerie glow. Then the noises began, scratching, whispering, and the distinct sound of footsteps pacing the hallway outside our rooms. "It's just the wind," Sarah whispered, her voice trembling. But it wasn't. The footsteps grew louder, heavier. We heard a soft, rhythmic tapping on the window, like claws scraping against the glass. "What's that?" Maya breathed, her eyes wide with fear. Liam, the bravest of us, grabbed a flashlight and cautiously opened the door. The hallway was empty, but the air was thick with a cold, oppressive presence. He shone the light down the hallway. A trail of wet, dark footprints led towards the far end of the corridor. We followed, our hearts pounding in our chests. The footprints stopped at a door, slightly ajar. A faint red glow emanated from within. Liam pushed the door open. Inside, the room was a shrine. Candles flickered, casting grotesque shadows on the walls. Strange symbols, etched into the wood, glowed with a faint crimson light. In the center of the room, a large, ornate mirror reflected our terrified faces, but it also reflected something else. Behind us, a figure stood in the doorway, tall, gaunt, with eyes that glowed like embers. It wore a tattered, seaweed-strewn cloak, and its face was a mask of decaying flesh. It raised a hand, its fingers long and skeletal, and pointed towards the mirror. In the mirror, our reflections were changing. Our skin was turning pale, our eyes hollow, and seaweed was sprouting from our hair. We screamed, a primal sound of terror, and fled. We ran through the storm, the figure's echoing footsteps following close behind. We reached the car, fumbled with the keys, and sped away, leaving the cursed motel behind. We never found Hidden Cove. We never went back. And to this day, when the wind howls and the rain lashes against the window, I see the figure in the mirror, its glowing eyes and decaying face, a chilling reminder of the spring break that turned into a nightmare. The map, now burned, still haunts my dreams, a reminder of the secrets hidden in the forgotten corners of the world, secrets that should remain undisturbed.